How you guys doing this Wednesday evening? Just got home from work, and now it's cigar time and a video with your host, Frank Talks Money. So guys, you see the title of the video, right? Now this perspective that I'm about to talk about comes from my mother. A lot of this video is from a conversation today that I had with my own mother. So let's get into it. So I was at work today. My mom had surgery last Friday. Everything's great. It was nothing serious. Just a small procedure. So I just called to check on her to make sure she was doing well, guys. So during our conversation, I told her that about my boomer employee that's always late that I'm going to have to fire. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to have to go ahead and pull the trigger, Mom, because she continues to be late. And I've tried to be as patient as I can. And my mom was like, you got to do what you got to do. And my mom said, I don't know why she just doesn't retire, Frank. I was like, I don't know either, Mom. So then my mom proceeded to say, most black people don't care about retiring broke. I was like, whoa, Mom, did that just come from you? That's like something I would say. She said, I'm serious. Most black people don't mind retiring broke. So I don't know why she's still working if she doesn't have much money. I said, Mom, you think that? You feel that way? She's like, yeah. Yeah. She said, I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. Most black people don't mind retiring broke. I was kind of like thrown away, like, man, that seemed like something I would say. But no, that came from my mother. She said, when I retired, I didn't have no savings, no investments. I even retired before I was Social Security eligible. I retired. She said, once I hit my 30 years, because my mom actually worked for a major university in Michigan, so she got a pension. She was a lucky one and got a pension. Soon as she was able to get that pension, Mom was gone. She was gone. And she couldn't even collect Social Security because she retired right at 59, I believe, or 60. So she still had to wait 2 years before she can even collect her Social Security. But she was like, I was done. I was gone. I was out. She said, yeah, in my opinion, most black people don't mind retiring broke. And the reason is, Frank, because if you spent your whole life broke, if you spent your whole life broke 30, 40, 50 years, and then retiring broke is really not a big deal, because if you're going to be broke another 10, 15, 20 years, you was already broke for 30 or 40 years. So what's another 10, 15, 20 if you was already broke? And I was like, you know what? You actually are right. I'm like, you actually are right. You're right. What's another 10, 15, 20 years if you've been broke your entire life? She said people that she worked with, like most of the black individuals, when they got their 30 years in and they was able to get that pension, they were gone. They didn't have no savings or investments or big time money. But as soon as they was able to get that pension and Social Security, they was gone. Retired. I'm out. I'm done. Most of the black folks. But she said the white people she worked with worked longer to make sure they was more financially prepared. Yep, that was my mom's perspective. She said black folks will retire broke without a problem because most of them been broke their entire life anyway. So retiring broke is not a big deal. But the white folks will work longer to make sure they are financially prepared going into retirement. They take it more seriously. They want to make sure they're prepared. The white individuals. Black people, Man, I'm retirement eligible. I'm done. Don't care if I got savings, investments, prepared or not. I'm out. I'm done working. I was like, wow. I'm hearing this from my mother. and I and I and then when I thought about it, I was like, she's right. She's 100% right. She's 100% right. Right. White people will prepare for retirement. White people will make sure they're prepared. White people will make sure they're prepared financially. Black people will do that if they already are financially literate. But if a black individual is already broke, been broke their entire life, they don't care about retiring broke. They don't. It doesn't bother them one bit. It's just a different philosophy when it comes to money from one race to the other. And I think that's why us as black Americans as a whole, I think that's why we're as a whole guys, we're last on the financial totem pole. Because we just don't take our financial lives seriously. We just don't. We don't take our financial lives seriously. And for me to hear that from my own mother, I was kind of blown away. But it is a total different philosophy when it comes down to money, how we look at money, how we prepare with money, how we use our money, how we put our money to work. And if a black individual is already broke, been broke their entire life, they don't care. They don't give a shit about retiring broke. They just don't. They've been broke their entire lives. They've been broke their entire lives. So, my question to you guys is, how do we change this mindset? What do we do to change this mindset? I'm open to ideas. Because when I talk about blacks and black wealth and how we need to take our wealth building seriously, people want to come at me in the comments and say I'm a hater, talking down on black people. I happen to be a black individual, so I would like to see the race do better. But what do you guys think? How do we change this mindset? How do we change this philosophy around money? How do we get black individuals to take their money seriously, to take retirement seriously, to take building assets over liabilities? How do we get black folks to have a different philosophy around this, a different mindset? I'm open to ideas, guys. I'm open to ideas. I'm not going to shout out a whole lot of things. I'm just asking you guys. But when she told me that, I was really surprised. I was really surprised because it came from my own mother's mouth, you know. And she even said herself, it's just a different philosophy. Black folks want to get out of work as soon as we possibly can. We want to be done working. We want to get out. But white individuals will work longer to make sure they're more financially secure. But why is that? Why is that? Put them in the comments, guys. I want to hear your take. I want to know what you guys got to say. Because this wasn't my take. This is my mother's take. This is how she sees things, how she sees it. But I'll be honest with you, I see this every day in the black community. She's right. I see so many black people retiring with not a whole lot of money, and they don't care. They figured it out for 30 or 40 years. they'll figure it out for another 10, 15, 20 years. So how do we change this philosophy, guys? Put it in the comments. So I just want to have this quick talk with you guys. I thought it was a really interesting point of view from my mom. So tell me how you guys feel. So I'm out of here, guys. You guys have a great evening. This is Frank. I'm out of here.